What's up everybody, it's JoJo, your favorite gold coach, and I hope you're all doing well. Thank you for joining me in the training range today so that I can talk about something that's been bothering me ever since I came back to the game. Now, the first thing that I want to point out, because I know somebody's going to inevitably talk about it, is I know I'm probably late to this conversation. There's a big newsflash. I'm probably going to be late to 99% of conversations. I have not played this game in 3 years. It's been a long time, so there's going to be stuff that happened in that 3-year span that I didn't give my opinion on. And even when I did play this game, I wasn't making content on it regularly, so of course I wouldn't have been able to do it. So when you see a video from me that's like, oh my god, we've already had this discussion, of course we have, because I wasn't playing then. So anyway, I want to talk about a fundamental design flaw that I see in the tank role that, even though I'm not a tank main anymore, it still kind of frustrates me because I know that it could be better, and that is blocking. Currently, there are 3 tanks in the game that have a block. That is Doomfist, Hazard, and Rammatra. And all 3 of these blocks are unnecessary. Now, I know what some people are going to say, no, you don't understand. It's a solo tank. In order for the solo tank to survive, they have to have some sort of block. No, they don't, and I'll prove it to you. But before we do that, I want to actually talk about my problems with each of the blocks fundamentally and why I don't like them as a design decision. We're going to start off with Doomfist. Now, when Doom came to the tank role, I wasn't exactly mad about the decision. When Overwatch 2 dropped, the devs stated that they really wanted to put CC into the tank and support roles, which, you know, they did pretty well, but they ended up bringing some CC back to the DPS role, and that sucks, and it's whatever. But, you know, it's fine, right? It's fine. I fucked that up. It's fine. It's whatever, but I didn't mind the transfer, I should say. I didn't mind the transfer of Doomfist into the tank role to try to keep this CC, you know, make sure that we keep all CC in one role type of dealio. But what really confused me was they moved Doomfist, this hyper-mobile character, this, you know, I'm going to jump around, I'm going to leap into here, I'm going to take a couple of shots, I'm going to punch some people into walls, make them regret their life choices, uninstall the game. But then we're going to take away one of his signature abilities, which is the uppercut. Now, if you weren't playing in Overwatch 1, Doom, instead of this fucking thing, used to have an uppercut ability. And so part of the way that you would play Doom is you would still do the whole, you know, either punch or slam in and then punch or slam out. But your uppercut was this really unique ability that you could weave into either one of the combos. So sometimes you might punch in and then uppercut slam out, or you would slam in and then uppercut and punch people over like a ledge, right? So like, I can't punch this tracer off the ledge right now, right? But what some Doomfist would do is they would uppercut them into the sky, just tap the button, and it would send people flying off the map, right? There were so many different things that you could do with the uppercut, and it made Doom feel very fluid. It made everything about him feel nice and interesting and fun. But now, you have to stop all of that. Every single thing that Doom was able to do with the uppercut, this fluid motion, staying airborne for long periods of time, being very difficult to hit and pin down, now they want you to just stand in the middle of the enemy team like a doofus. And I can't get behind that. I can't. I hate it. I hate it so much. It's so dumb. It's so dumb, bro. Like, why? Like, in the middle, I'm like, oh my god, bro, I got this. Okay, all right, I've slammed in. Okay, I need to power up my punch. Hold on. Fuck. They didn't shoot at me. Oh no. Okay. All right, I gotta wait. I gotta bait out. I gotta make sure they're already shooting at me. Okay, now my punch does something besides tickling the enemies. Oh my god. You know what I mean? I think that the entire reason they put the block in was so that Doom could survive, you know, theoretically could survive the amount of attention that was going to be put on him as a tank, because when you're the only tank, basically all eyes are on you. And it's, you know, they wanted to make sure that he would be able to survive, which is the reason for the other blocks. But here's my issue. you can make Doom a survivable tank without doing that. And it's honestly a lot easier than I think people understand, because we already have a hyper-mobile tank who's always moving, who's always zipping around the battlefield, who has that ability, and it's Wrecking Ball. Wrecking Ball is able to survive with his E, which just gives him more health. And then because he's such a hyper-mobile character, he's able to be very hard to pin down and hard to hit, which Doomfist can easily be extremely similar. I think that people don't understand when you're talking about, like, look at the initiator role, right? These are the quote-unquote dive tanks that Hazard isn't in for some reason, right? D.Va has a lot of health, has her defense matrix, and has a very, like, high lethality range. Right? That's how she survives. That's how she solo tanks. That's how she survives in times get tough. Winston has his bubble, and his leap is on a very, very, very short cooldown, right? So Winston, you know, well, you don't ever leap in as Winston. That's bad Winston play, but you have the ability to get out whenever you need, right? We already talked about Wrecking Ball. So why is Doomfist the only dive tank that has to stand around like a jackass getting shot at? So here's my solution for Doomfist, right? Of course, we get rid of this block. And then we slightly buff the damage of the rocket punch to make up for the fact that we're not going to have the empowered punch anymore off cooldown. I think you can probably still give empowered punch to his ultimate, like after he lands. I think that would be a cool reward, because Meteor Strike is kind of dog shit. I'm not going to lie to you. I think honestly Meteor Strike might be the worst tank ult, but I digress. So we buff his rocket punch a little bit, and then we buff the best defense, right? So right now you get 40 on an, actually, I don't even know if you need to buff the best defense. Maybe you can. So wait, you don't even need to buff this. I think 40 per hit is fine. 40 per target hit, and then you give him his uppercut, and then he's just constantly landing abilities on people, right? If he's constantly landing on abilities on people, then he doesn't need it. I think really what they should do is remove the cap, right? So you get 200 max overhealth. If you give him back his uppercut and remove the cap, he gets so much. And then if you're still worried, give him survival of the fittest as a base kit, where if you eliminate somebody, he gets 25 more overhealth. So then Doomfist becomes a super ability based hero, right? Where he's punching, he's slamming, he's uppercutting, he's doing all this so that he constantly keeps all this overhealth up, and it makes him very hard to kill and very hard to pin down, which would make for a really, really good tank. Would it make him overpowered? Okay, maybe 40 is too much. Maybe you bring it down to, 35 or 30, play with it a bit, but anything is better than this fucking stupid ass stand around and get shot at ability that they gave him. I hate it so much. I'm going to do Rammatra next because I'm still pretty new to Hazard. So Hazard is going to be one of those ones where, I'm going to talk about it, but I'm probably going to get some stuff wrong, and I don't want to do that. So Rammatra is honestly probably one of my favorite tank designs. Not necessarily favorite tank to play, but favorite tank designs, right? Because he's got this poke, which is honestly really powerful. I think that people really underestimate how strong the staff actually is. It's pretty fucking good. Then of course he has a shield that's just a little temporary shield on a 13-second cooldown, which is fine. I think that the shield is good. It's good for cutting off, tanks from their team so that they can't receive a lot of healing. It's good for even blocking damage and allowing your team to push up and move forward and close the gap. And then of course we have Vortex, which is in desperate need of a change. I still think that Vortex should be it should reach the skybox. I'm not entirely sure why they made the trailer like, oh, you can pull a Pharah out of the sky, but then you do it and it's like slightly higher than like a double jump or something. Like I just don't know. I don't know why they did it that way, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Nemesis form. Nemesis form is great, right? Because you gain a shitload of armor. To be like fully specific. When you activate it, you gain 275 bonus armor, which instantly heals you for a lot. Armor is is extremely good. If you're not aware, the way that health works is that armor reduces damage by 7 if the damage is greater than or equal to 14, and then it reduces damage below 14 by 50% and reduces beam damage by 30%. So essentially what it does is it allows you to survive a lot of chip damage really well, and then if it's not chip damage, you're supposed to use like big poke damage, so like basically every projectile in the game except for, well, ironically, Rammatra's staff. But that's where you would get things like Doom Punch, Orisa bullets, just stuff that has very high impact damage. That's how you get rid of armor. But instantly being able to go to 800 armor is already really good. But then, I gotta do this. This is how I survive, guys. This is how I survive. And you might think to yourself, okay, well, your problem with Doom Block was that it destroys the mobility of a tank, right? It instantly makes the tank have to stand around like a doofus and get shot at on purpose in order to make his fist worth a shit and in order for him to survive, right? So, but Rammatra's not a hypermobile tank. No, but Nemesis form is a brawling form, right? This is to brawl with. You use this to get up close and personal to them and kick their fucking teeth in. So why, then, may I ask, are we giving him an ability that stops his aggression? Why are we rewarding standing stock still, taking reduced damage? I don't like this. I don't like this at all. It removes the proactivity of Nemesis form, because the entire point of Nemesis form is the entire point of Rammatra is to be able to do damage, poke from a distance, use your shield to close the gap, and then once you get here, or they get to you, you pop Nemesis and you fuck up their day. You ruin their entire lives by just being like one of the most deadly fucking characters in close range. I mean, he really is. In terms of close range tanks, Nemesis form is insane, bro. The damage on Pummel is 65 per hit. That's pretty good. That is insanely good, especially with the fire rate that it has. And of course, it pierces through shields, pierces through defense matrix, pierces through Sigma Suck. So I don't, again, why is this a thing? Why are we just standing still waiting to get shot at? So here's my idea. Instead of that, give Pummel like a small amount of lifesteal, like 10 to 15% lifesteal. So he's healing while he's pummeling, right? And then your right click should be some sort of crowd control. So when he's in Nemesis form, you right click and you grab the enemy that's like right in front of you. I was kind of thinking, I haven't played a lot of it, but I played a little bit of Rivals with some of my community, and Emma Frost has an ability where she like grabs someone and slams them into the ground when she goes crystal form, which is kind of similar to Ram. Like her crystal form is meant to brawl while she's got that long range beam and the shield to protect her team. So I was thinking, why not give his right click an ability like that where you can grab someone and slam them on the ground to stun them? Or if you want to get really creative, I'm not saying we do this, but if you want to get really creative, you make it to where right click insta grabs them, and then you can either like right click again to slam or left click to just toss them, right? Just get somebody off of your team. You've got a Reinhardt that's like in your team's face and you can't get rid of him. Grab him, chuck him, right? You got an ulting Genji with Dragon Blade, and you can manage to catch him with the ability. Grab him, chuck him, right? I think that would be a great fucking way. And then again, you continue to let Pummel lifesteal, so you continue to have that survivability, and you don't have this hyper aggressive brawling form result to just standing around getting shot at. Finally, we have Hazard. I'm not gonna lie, Hazard is a tank that I really want to learn. I'm done maining tank, but eventually I'll have to go back to it for, my goals of hitting Grandmaster in every role eventually, but I'm taking it slow. For right now, the goal is Grandmaster by the end of 2026 in DPS, which we're getting there. Follow the Twitch to keep up with that. Anyway, the point is that Hazard is, I don't understand Hazard fully, because this ability is very obviously for dives, right? This wall climb ability, very obviously to stage. This ability, very obviously to displace, block damage, and also give you something to stage a dive. Right? Okay. Cool. What is this? What is this? Okay, so I want to start off by saying that I don't completely hate Hazard's block. Because unlike Doom's and unlike Ram's, it's not a stand there and get shot at like a dope ability, right? But this auto spike thing has a very, very short range. Looks like it's only like 5 meters. 7 meters. Okay, my bad. 7 meters, right? So this spike guard has a 7-meter range of auto-targeting spikes that hit the enemy 70 per second. I think that's pretty sick. I like this. I like this for a dive tank, not the block, but I like the spike ability for a dive tank because I mean you can, dude, you can do some pretty fucking serious damage with this thing, right? You dive in, you do this, you slash them, you know you've got your shotgun for close range, closing the gap. So at first glance, this block ability seems good, but again, I think that we could do more, right? I think that we can do more. And really, honestly, my only suggestion for fixing this is to make the Anarchic Zeal base kit, get rid of the blocking function, and let him shoot while he's doing this stuff, right? Keep the spikes on a meter, which is great. I love that. I'm down. I like that. But let him shoot while he's right-clicking. He's no longer taking reduced damage. He can jump in, shoot, do a whole bunch of damage to a target, leap back out, right? Yeah, it's a 5-second cooldown. Fuck yeah. So, like, in my head, when I'm thinking, right, I'm thinking you're in a team fight, right? Your supports are getting doved on. You block off this guy. You dive into this guy. You've got your spikes going. You tap him a couple times with the shotgun, and then he dies, right? And then you can flip around now that the wall's gone. You dive over. You do something similar. I think that's really cool. I just don't like the idea of them giving tanks that are supposed to be proactive a block, right? And the only reason that this one is better than the other blocks is because you are doing damage during it. But I just simply don't like the idea that you just kind of stand there and let the damage do its work, right? Like it again, it's and if you do the slash, you kind of get out of it. So just get rid of the blocking aspect, give it a little bit of lifesteal so that you can survive while you're doing this, and let Hazard be like a high damage output dive tank. You know, that's the way I see it, and I could be wrong. I think Hazard is probably the only one that I'm like not entirely confident on what I'm suggesting, but that's what I think. I think that again, I don't like this. I don't like standing there and getting shot at as a form of survival. Because the thing is, right, and I know some people are probably going to say, oh, well, what about tanks like Reinhardt, for example? Reinhardt has something very similar to blocks with his shield, where he too just stands there and gets shot at, and he can't do anything with his shield up. Yes, but at least his shield protects his team. You know what I mean? Like at least his shield is protecting his team. I mean, let's be completely honest with ourselves. Reinhardt needs something else. I talked about this in my tier list video. Reinhardt needs, like, he's bringing a knife to a gunfight. He's very outdated. He definitely needs something. I suggested giving him like a faster walking speed, removing the penalty when he's got his shield up, just something like that. He needs to be able to close the gap a little bit better, and making him being able to close the gap faster to his opponents is probably good, right? But with the thing is like, right, he is standing there getting shot at, which isn't fun, but at least he's protecting his team. The other blocks don't do that. You can stand in front of a teammate and hope it works, but they don't do that. Look at the other damage mitigation in the game, right? Sigma can put his shield out, and he's not standing there getting shot at. He's being proactive. Oh, but his suck is standing there getting shot at. Yeah, but it gives him a shitload of overhealth, and that suck is a defense matrix, which protects his team. You know what I mean? It protects his team. Right? Who else? Domina. Domina doesn't stand there and get shot at, right? She can put her shield wherever she needs to put it. It's not a very mobile shield, so it's got a pretty high skill floor to use, but you don't just stand there getting shot at. Even Orissa's spinny spear isn't meant to just stand there get shot at, because yeah, it absorbs projectiles, but you're able to move forward. You're able to do something proactive. And when you do hit people with the spinny spear, at least you're able to push them up and off the fucking cliff, or push them out of position. And I think that that's very, very good. That's a proactive use of a quote-unquote block. No other tank in the game outside of Doom, Hazard, and Ram expect you to just stand there and get shot at like a jackass and not protect your team at the same time in order to survive as a tank. So I don't like blocking as an ability type. I really wish it wouldn't be in the game, and that's the video. Let me know what you guys think down below. Of course, I am just a plat scrub, so maybe I'm completely wrong, but hopefully soon I'll be able to call myself a diamond scrub. Again, you guys can follow me on Twitch to follow that little journey. Outside of that, a great big special thank you to my channel members listed on screen now. If you want to find out how to become a channel member today, get awesome perks like seeing videos early, merch discount codes, and more, then please click that join button down below. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one.